Good evening. Glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
We celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
On the news at 7.
Jama'a
barkanmu da wannan
The Unity Station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja.
Would say have a lovely day.
It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. Thank you for joining us on this week's edition of the program From the Territory, where we beam our searchlight to some communities in the FCT to bring you some interesting activities happening in there. Of course, we garnish it with stories from the city center, as well as messages from the pulpits. My name is Tesio Mary. The program returns in just a moment. Our apologies for starting a few minutes behind schedule. We had to take care of some challenges. We do hope you'd bear with us. President Bola Tinubu has inaugurated 2 roads in the Guzafe district of the Federal Capital Territory, named after 2 renowned Nigerian prolific writers, J.P. Clark and Chinua Achebe. The inauguration of this project, which is located at Guzafe district, Lot 2, is the 9th in the series of presidential project inaugurations lineup to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of this administration by the Federal Capital Territory Administration. Aisha Uba Ali was there.
According to the Executive Secretary FCDA Shehu Hadi Ahmed, the provision of engineering infrastructure Lot 2 district was created out of necessity, and the 3.2-kilometer road is to provide for commercial and residential purposes as well as park areas. FCT Minister Nyesom Wike says the project, awarded in 2003 at the cost of 14 billion naira, was later reviewed to 18 billion naira as of May 2023.
Because of your passion, because of your doggedness to make sure that projects must not be abandoned. Government is a continuum. You have to make sure that these projects are completed and with a financial arrangement. That's what we have succeeded because you gave us that room. I have told people who care to hear, since I assumed office in August 21st, 2023, you have never one day interfered in our work. Never one day have you called me that this is what you want, this is not what you have. Never one day.
President Bola Tinubu says the renewed hope agenda, which is people-centered, is not only looking at infrastructure, but an all-encompassing initiative to touch the lives of Nigerians positively.
Development that is focused on the people, for the economic prosperity, the benefit of the whole. Is what should reside in us.
The engineering infrastructure, the president, however, opined, is a unique inauguration and a landmark achievement. In Abuja, Aisha Uba Ali, NTA News.
Many thanks, Aisha. Christians have been encouraged to cultivate the habit of confessing and declaring the positive in every circumstance. Cleric add that God is not unaware of the condition of things. These and more formed some of the messages from the sermon in today's church service, as reported by Charity Zaka.
Challenges and difficulties will present itself most times, but for those who will believe God's promises and stand by it, confessing that God is able to change every circumstance, then the mouth of Christians will be filled with testimonies at all times. These messages were from the Apostolic Church, Nigeria, Gariki Assembly.
The joy of the Lord is our strength to face the challenges, the trivial, to survive and to face these trivial challenges we are facing in the nations. Let the joy of the Lord be our strength. We should not rest on our own personal strength. We should draw on the strength of the name of the Lord for us to live and to survive this trying period. And by doing so, we will not be reacting based on the feeling of our nature, but by the word of God.
On the other hand was a call on Christians to replicate the oneness we are before God on earth by standing united in purpose and calling. That was from the Associate Pastor of Equa Prayer House, Ajata Durumi Area 1, Pastor Joy Kanang Mashu.
Unity goes beyond just hugging your brother, but even the things we do in our sales of items, we need to understand that your brother will come and buy, because before God we are one, we are the same, a brother and a sister. So even my own children, before God, we are all children.
The service was concluded with prayers on worshippers to go and be fruitful and let God show himself in their daily endeavors. Charity Zaka, NTA News.
And in a bid to ensure strict adherence to contractual agreement, the management of the Federal Capital Territory Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board has inspected the services of food vendors contracted to supply daily meals to the FC pilgrims in Makkah. The director of the board, Abubakar Adamu Evuti, led other management staff on the inspection visit. Onoze Yakubu was part of the visit and brought back this report from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
The visit to the facilities of the food vendors is to ensure proper monitoring of the menu services provided in order to protect the interests of the FCT pilgrims in the Holy Land of Saudi Arabia. The director of FCT Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board, Abubakar Adamu Evuti, expressed satisfaction with the services being provided, urging the food vendors to sustain the quality of services. He assures of the board's commitment to ensuring the provision of quality meals in line with the contractual agreement. He reiterates that what is on the ground is in contradiction to the social media report on the hygienic nature of the kitchen where the foods are being prepared.
I want to appeal to all of us that this is a country which belongs to all of us. We don't have any other country but Nigeria. So once we are outside our country and we are in another country, we should protect the image of the country, not going to bring the country to disrepute in terms of making a wrong report of what actually was not happening. What we saw in the kitchen this morning is a clear manifestation of what has been done. We have seen a kitchen that is so hygienic, the standard is actually global practice.
These two must go together. You pray and change yourself for the better. That's what I urge our fellow victims. Make sure that they pray for Nigeria, and I believe Nigeria is great and we are going to continue being great.
The head FCT Pilgrims Welfare Services of the board, Zainab Muhammad, assures of the board's commitment to complying with agreement made with regard to menu specifications given to the caterers. Meanwhile, the chief caterer, Mustafa Musa, however, commended the director and his team for ensuring close supervision of meals provided to ensure strict compliance. From the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
True, I will hope you're having a beautiful time performing your religious obligation. Back home, humanity's sustenance and that of the other organisms on Earth is being supported by the ocean, which covers 70% of the planet. Acknowledging the significance of the ocean, 8th of June every year is meant to celebrate the ocean, as it reminds all of the role of the ocean in ensuring the well-being of all creatures. Abdullahi Ajia has details.
World Oceans Day is a global day of ocean celebration and collaboration for a better future. The day was first introduced in 1992 to raise awareness of the crucial role the sea plays as a source of food, oxygen and medicine. Numerous activities are held around the world to mark the day, including highlighting the challenges humanity faces to protect the world's ocean. Most often, it is a call to action to safeguard the ocean against possible threats,
are creating unsustainable levels of stress on coastal ecosystems. Governments are not making full use of the tools available to them, including the Convention on the Law of the Sea and UN Oceans. We are here today to turn the tide. We created these problems. With decisive, coordinated global action, we can solve them. Sustainable Development Goal 14, the goal of the oceans, must be our roadmap to clean, healthy oceans. The essential first step is ending the artificial dichotomy between economic demands and the health of our seas.
The Earth's oceanic waters form the bulk of the hydrosphere, covering almost 71% of the Earth's surface, with a total volume of 1,332,000,000 cubic kilometers. No wonder the ocean is regarded as engine of the planet that shape life on Earth.
This collective effort involves governments, the United Nations, international organisations, the private sector, local communities, non-government organisations, public figures and philanthropists.
To get everyone involved, whether you feel you're affected or not by the ocean, you are. And so I think this is just a wonderful opportunity to really dig deep into one of those goals that I would say
of the country, by the
hands with all the relevant stakeholders to motivate widespread momentum for the ocean. Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
We apologize for the name misplacement in some parts of that report. We do hope you would bear with us. Now, No Woman, No Nation initiative is saddled with the responsibility as it has lauded the commitment of President Tinubu towards ensuring the representation of women in agencies of government. Serafina Okonumekwe reports that this was made known during the inauguration of new members in Abuja, as well as the empowerment of the vulnerable amongst them.
I learned so many things, samosa, tailoring, and give me money to start. Like 50,000.
My own script they teach me how to do coconut oil. Oh, I the producer now. People they buy. I used it to train my children for school.
Okay. How many children do you have?
4. 2 graduates. 2 are about to go now. Sometimes I sell 50,000 naira a day. Sometimes I sell 20,000. Sometimes 30,000.
Exciting stories from beneficiaries whose lives have been immensely impacted through skills acquisition and startup capital. No Woman, No Nation has made this possible through its community outreaches.
That whatever government is doing, whatever society is doing, we have our own right as a woman.
No Woman, No Nation in the near future, we hope to eradicate poverty.
Women that have no hope, women that have lost it in life. This organization was made to bring all of them together, and I tell you, they have been empowerment since the beginning of this organization.
The beneficiaries cuts across the 36 states of the Federation and the 6 area councils of the FCT with the thrust of ensuring absolute poverty eradication while giving women the platform to contribute their quota to national development. With more than 30 million members from its database, the organization aims to establish vocational training centers in larger capacities, especially in agriculture.
As No Woman, No Nation is ready to stand for youth and set a good agenda to make them great.
Hereby, solemnly swear.
The big moments came for the FCT leadership of No Woman, No Nation as they took their oath of office, received membership certificates, as well as presentation of awards to deserving associates for their commitment, impactful and humanitarian services to the nation. woman, no nation is saddled with the responsibility of rendering humanitarian services in the society. In Abuja, Serafina Okon Omekwe, NTA News.
More from non-governmental organizations. A non-profit organization, HCC, has donated menstrual pads to 320 women and girls living in the internally displaced persons camp. Initiator Adesewa Oyilola said the NGO is aimed to mentor ladies on personal hygiene and development. Safia Inoma Uchi has more.
Women in the IDP were excited to receive the theme from HCC, who lectured them on the importance of personal hygiene every time, especially during menstrual periods.
We coach them and we mentor them on personal development so they can become the best versions of themselves. Today we came to do a menstrual hygiene sensitization and also to donate pads to the girls and women at IDP Camp Durumi.
320 women and girls benefited from the NGO.
I'm happy that HICE is here because they are bringing pad for us.
Thank you for helping us with pad. Thank you, may God bless you. Some they don't know how to use pad, but they come and teach us how to use pad. We are very thank you.
We are vulnerable people. We are here on our own. No father, no uncle. You are our daddies, you are uncle. Reach out to assist.
We realize that menstruation and period poverty is something that everybody is suffering from. So we came here to educate them.
The women were urged to maintain personal hygiene to avoid infections. They were also taught how to make disposable pads if they cannot afford to buy one. Safia Noma Uche, NTA News.
Good evening, glad to have you join us.
Thanks for joining us on Weekly News Wrap.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it is on that note we welcome you to today's edition of the program.
I will celebrate creativity, lasting impressions.
There's no book stating that this is the role for men.
On the news.
On the news at 7.
The
Unity Station, NTA Channel 5, Abuja.
Would say have a lovely day.
Home to land allocation and massive deployment happening around the FCT, clinging to their traditions and belief has now become a bitter pill to swallow. This is the case of Durumi 2 community who, despite these challenges, are peaceful and warm towards non-indigenous dwellers in the community. Ramatu Abdullahi visited this community.
The palace of the village head of Durumi 2 community, Denju Matanko Ndadubo, was my first port of call, where he went down memory lane to reveal the history of the community.
Durumi is not being called Durumi, it's called Dumukma. The meaning of Dumukma is pass by my side. Just as an EG of Gariki. Gariki is not being called Gariki, it's Pei. That Pei is at and that is where we migrated from Pei to get Dumukma.
Located a few kilometers from the city center, Durumi attracts quite a large number of dwellers as a result of its proximity to the city center. Notwithstanding, the village head says the indigenous people still hold on to their traditions.
There is something we call diarrhea, Mwamwa. Da are diarrhea and Mwamwa. It is a time that we did sadden when our forefathers were around. They will worship them. They will worship them and they will dance so that the village will be in order. Without doing so, you will see things are happening in the community. But doing so, nothing will happen again. So up to now, we are still using that diarrhea and we are still using that Mwamwa as a culture.
He said among the major challenges confronting the community is that the indigenous people are often not consulted before land is allocated, and this is making them lose the graves where their forefathers were buried to such allocations.
Here is a community that is originally occupied by the Gbagi people, but along with them are other ethnic groups that are settling peacefully, harmoniously living with them without any problem. I have with me here Cecilia, who is going to tell us how the relationship has been over the years.
Ajidai na baya sasa na lafiya ya bibi na baya babwa lafiya bada yayi enya igi izan ko zan itaye banu ko ne ye ba mananu.
They're a bit friendly. You know, we are mixed from different tribes here. Yes, they are friendly.
The aspiration of this community is that government intervene in assisting them in preserving their cultural heritage. Ramatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
I must say thank you to Durumi community members for preaching one Nigeria, irrespective of their challenges. And it is on that unity note we conclude today's edition of the program From the Territory. Until we come your way next week, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of our program. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Tessie Omeri. Good afternoon.